Today, we are focusing on how to write an accommodation in an IEP. As a new special education teacher, this is an important skill because accommodations must be written clearly enough for everyone on the team to understand and implement them consistently. The goal is not just to list a support, but to describe it in a way that makes the school's responsibility clear. Avoid vague language like as needed unless you explain when it is needed, where it applies, what triggers it, and who is responsible for providing it. Let's start with the definition of an accommodation. An accommodation changes how a student learns or shows learning, but it does not change what the student is expected to learn. That distinction is critical. For example, giving extended time, providing a graphic organizer, or using large print materials are accommodations because they support access without lowering the learning standard. As a teacher, you always want to ask yourself, is this helping the student access grade level learning, or is it changing the expectation? That question helps you distinguish accommodations from modifications. This slide helps us compare accommodations and modifications side by side. On the left, you see examples of accommodations such as one-on-one or small group instruction, extended time, braille or large print materials, and shortened assignments or assessments. These support access. On the right, you see examples of modifications such as focusing only on selected grade level content, changing scoring rubrics, or reducing the complexity of a task significantly. As a new teacher, it is very important to know which one you are recommending because accommodations and modifications have different implications for instruction, participation, and student expectations. This slide shows the difference between a strong, weak, and poor accommodation statements. Notice that the strong example is detailed. It tells us the area, the support, the conditions under which it is used, and the setting. That makes it easy for teachers to implement. The weak example gives some information, but it is still too broad and lacks precision. The poor example is much too vague. Terms like schoolwork, graphic organizer, and as needed do not tell the team enough. This is a great reminder that strong IEP writing is specific, practical, and measurable in the real classroom use. This final slide shows why clear accommodation writing matters in practice. Once accommodations are written into the IEP, they must be implemented and documented. This type of tracking form helps teams record which accommodations were provided, who was responsible, and what impact they had. As a new special education teacher, this is where compliance and instruction come together. It is not enough to write a good accommodation. You also need systems in place to make sure it is delivered consistently and to monitor whether it actually helps the student. Thank you and goodbye.